right, isn't he?
You okay? You okay?
I don't know if you're feeling it too, but right now, something in NASCAR just feels different. Like we're sitting right on the edge of a shift that could change how this season plays out. And it's not just one storyline driving that feeling, it's two major developments happening at the same time, both connected in a way that could seriously shake things up once the green flag drops again. On one side, there's a behind-the-scenes change that could completely alter how drivers attack one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar, Bristol Motor Speedway. And on the other side, there's this unusual pause in the schedule that almost feels like the calm before something big. Because what's coming right after it? That might be one of the most important races of the early season. If you've been following closely, you already know these are the moments that end up defining everything. So stick with me because we're breaking both of these down. And real quick, if you're into real NASCAR talk like this, hit that like button and subscribe. The channel is building toward 100 subscribers, and it's all about fans who actually live this sport week in and week out. All right, let's start with the first story, because this one could seriously change what we see on track at Bristol. Goodyear and NASCAR are rolling out a new tire for the Food City 500. And if you've watched Bristol over the last couple of years, you already know why this matters so much. The biggest issue? Tire wear has been completely unpredictable, and not in a good way. We've seen races where tires didn't just wear out, they literally fell apart, chunking, shredding, breaking into pieces, especially when temperatures dropped. That comes down to the combination of cold weather and Bristol's concrete surface. Instead of rubber building up and forming those classic racing grooves, it was just tearing away. And that's the opposite of what everyone wants. What NASCAR and Goodyear are aiming for is simple: consistent wear that allows rubber to lay down over time, opening up multiple lanes, giving drivers options, and creating real racing. Now here's where it gets interesting. Goodyear ran a tire test back in November, and according to their leadership, it gave them a huge amount of data. The goal was to create a tire that isn't so sensitive to temperature changes, because teams have been frustrated with how drastically conditions can shift from practice to race day. And that's a real problem. You dial in your setup, feel good about it. Then the weather changes, and suddenly everything you learned is useless. But during that November test, and again during the March sessions, the track actually started taking rubber, even in cooler conditions. That's a big deal. It means they might finally be close to fixing one of Bristol's biggest issues. Still, there's a twist. This new tire is only being used by the Cup Series. The Truck Series and Xfinity Series are sticking with the same compound they've used since 2022. So across the same weekend, at the same track, we could see completely different racing styles. And honestly, that's fascinating. Because if Goodyear nailed it, if they found that perfect balance between heavy tire fall-off and almost no wear, Sunday could be everything we've been missing. Strategy, multiple grooves, drivers moving through the field, real short-track racing. But if they missed, we could be right back to chaos for all the wrong reasons. Now let's shift to the second storyline, because this one sets the tone for everything. For the first time this season, the Cup Series is actually taking a break over Easter weekend. And yeah, it feels weird. We've had non-stop racing since February, and suddenly, nothing on Sunday. Now sure, there was still action with the lower series at Rockingham, but no Cup race just feels off. It breaks the rhythm. But this pause isn't random. It comes at a very specific moment. We're coming off a strong stretch of racing. Chase Elliott just delivered a huge win at Martinsville Speedway, pulling away from Denny Hamlin in a statement performance. At the same time, Tyler Reddick has been on another level. He's leading the standings and stacking wins. Daytona, Atlanta, COTA, you name it. That's not just momentum, that's dominance. And right as all these storylines are heating up, everything pauses. But that break is setting up something huge, because when the Cup Series comes back, it's going straight to Bristol on April 12th. And it's not just the new tire, we're also getting an increased horsepower package. That combination, that's why everyone in the garage is paying attention. Bristol is already one of the toughest tracks in motorsports, It's tight, fast, high-banked, and unforgiving. There's zero room for mistakes. Now add more power and a tire that could change how the track evolves over a long run, and suddenly, this race becomes all about who adapts the fastest. That's why I think this weekend separates the field. Drivers like Reddick could keep rolling and build on that momentum, but veterans like Hamlin or someone like Elliott coming off a big win, they know how to read a track as it changes. That experience could decide it late. And don't forget the timing. Coming off the break, some teams will come in sharp, others might be a step behind. At Bristol, you don't get time to figure it out. So for me, this feels like one of those races where everything matters. Setup, tire management, track position, and pure driver instinct. If Goodyear got it right, we could be looking at one of the best Bristol races in years. If not, we're probably having a very different conversation afterwards. Either way, I'm watching every lap. And one more thing to keep an eye on. Pit strategy could end up being just as important as what happens on track. If tire wear finally becomes consistent, crew chiefs are going to have real decisions to make instead of just reacting to problems. That could open the door for some bold calls late in the race. Also, watch how quickly drivers start moving off the bottom lane. If that second groove comes in early, it's going to completely change how aggressive guys can be in traffic. That's when Bristol really comes alive. And don't be surprised if we see some tempers flare either. This track has a history of turning small contact into big moments, especially when the stakes are this high. So yeah, everything is lining up for one of those races people talk about long after it's over. And if it delivers, this could be the moment that defines the entire season. And don't forget, if you're into real NASCAR breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. The channel is on the road to 100, and it's all about real fans talking real racing. I'll catch you in the next one.